Hello everyone, my name is Harshil and today I'm presenting the Business Insight 360 project. It is a full-scale Power BI project for AtliQ, a global consumer electronics and peripheral company. This is not just a dashboard walkthrough. What I essentially want to show today is the entire journey from business problem all the way through the data pipeline, the modeling, the build, and finally what business impact I create. So without wasting a time, let's get into it. Now the AtliQ Hardware was growing fast, but the data infrastructure hadn't kept up. Finance was working in one Excel file, supply chain in another, sale in third. Nobody had a complete picture. Leadership was making a decision based on the data that was already a week old, or maybe 15 days old. By the time someone spotted a problem or a bottleneck, a drop in a gross margin, forecast accuracy, and it was often too late to act. And a 1 week or 15-day old data for a supply chain that really has a huge impact on the sales. They have experienced the failure to capture the anticipated growth in Latin America, and the competition of AtliQ faced is crucial in the existing market by the companies like Dell, and there was no way to benchmark. No one could tell quickly, no one quickly answer about are we ahead of the or are we behind of the last year in APAC, for example, or which customer is doing what kind of business in the a specific quarter. So the brief was, until now, the product owner was assigned by the management to create a business insight 360 as a platform, as a one platform in which 5 views that covers every stakeholders. 2-person team is assigned by myself and my team lead, who's an experienced data analyst in my team, and we have been briefed by him and assigned the task and assigned the project charter by the product owner. So now let me walk you through how the data flows into the dashboard. Step 1. The raw data lives in the MySQL data warehouses. These contain all transactional data such as actual sale, forecast quantities, manufacturing cost, freight cost, market share. So these are the data like spanning from 2018 to 2022. Then I wrote SQL queries to extract the relevant tables and validate joins and check for data quality issues before loading anything into Power BI. Then inside Power Query, I cleaned and transformed the data. This means correcting data types, handling nulls, and creating a clean data dimension. This is one of the most important steps that I did is building the star schema by defining relationship between the fact tables and the dimension tables using the primary key and the foreign keys. This is the foundation that makes every visual in this Power BI, like every visual in this dashboard, work correctly. And finally, on top of that model, I created more than 50 DAX measures for every KPIs across all 5 visuals, and I'll cover that in the next slide. But that we have discussed in the previous with the stakeholder meeting, that what are the KPIs that we need to consider for each and every visuals. There we go. So here is the actual data model inside my Power BI file. If I consider this project as a motorcycle, then this data model is going to be the engine of it. The model follows the star schema. At the center, there are two main tables, fact actual estimates and fact forecast. Each table contains information of sales, cost, market, and product, etc. Surrounding these two tables, there are dimensional tables such as dim customer, dim product, dim market, dim date. Every relationship is defined using primary and foreign keys, which means Power BI can filter any visual in any direction precisely. I also built several support tables. The profit and loss rows and column tables power the dynamic profit and loss statement. They make it possible to show any profit and loss line line item in correct order. The net sales, gross margin, target table derives the benchmark comparison toggle between last year and target. And on the right hand side, you can see the fill parameters that I created: primary parameter, secondary parameter, and several view specific parameter for sales, marketing, and executive. These are what power the dynamic dimension switching in toggle tables. The toggle switch or toggle tables is very interesting concept. I'll explain you in the further slide. Before I wrote a single measure, I sat down with the business manager and aligned all mockups. What does finance needs to see? What does supply chain care about? What does a C-level executive is curiously want on the pages or on the visuals? From those conversations, I built over 50 data analysis expression measures. This fall into 4 categories: revenue measures like net sales, revenue contribution percentage; profitability measures like gross margin and net profit; supply chain measures like forecast accuracy and net error; and benchmark measures like calculate to compare to last year and the target. I have given the link of GitHub repository for DAX, data analysis expression. You can check it out in the description box. Now the build wasn't a straight line. Stakeholders feedback shaped the dashboard significantly. What I have created and what I'm going to show you next is completely different. The grouping technique was needed to keep bookmarks intact when visuals were moved. Field parameters came from requests to combine customers and the product into a single table. Conditional formatting was added after supply chain team asked for instant risk visibility. Each of these techniques solved a real stakeholder problem. This is the biggest learning that I, as a data analyst, that it's not all about analysis the data or finding the patterns, but also communicating and negotiate with the stakeholders to solve their problem is also an equally important. I really want to walk you through the actual dashboard from home view to finance and up to the executive view. I'm gonna click the filters and tag all the toggle switches so that you can have an idea about how visual changes. Let's first start with the financial view. As you can see on the left hand side of the filter panes, starting from the versus last year, versus target, all the years, into quarters, year to date, year to go. Also, it is also filtered dig down with the region, country. You can see over here, we have all 4 regions by the stores and by the category of the product. So in the finance view, this visual is able to address the entire view of profit and loss, including the net sales and top and bottom products and the customer. As you can see here, it includes all the profit and loss statement from gross sale to net profit, and also it provides you the net sales performance with the 3 KPIs of net sales, gross margin percentage and net profit percentage. Over here you can also filter it out with the switches that filter it down with the region and the category and market and the product. Now with the sales view, which customer need to prioritize and which need to review is easily addressed over here. As you can see, the scatter plot, which is this one, with net sales of bubble size. So as you can see, the more bigger the bubble is, that means the more margin and more sale. The toggle switch between the product and customer here, so the stakeholder doesn't need to go anywhere, any other resources or pages for the same information, but the same product performance information is also available by clicking it as a customer performance. Now moving on with the marketing, which segment and market are profitable and where is the margin going? As per the stakeholder request, I recreated this scatter plot here that shows which segment and markets are profitable and where is margin going. Toggle, in other words, stakeholder doesn't need to go again same anywhere to filter down the sources and the pages. They find the same information for different variables. Conditional formatting and toggle is also again over this side. So from gross margin percentage, you can click over here, and also at the same time you can say net profit percentage. You can see the visual changes. And over here with the same toggle, you can just click with the market. You can see the reach, the market, and with the same toggle over here, you can see the difference of the view. Now supply chain, the 3 KPI cards, as you can see at the top. So forecast accuracy percentage, net error and absolute error. The 3 metrics every supply chain team monitors weekly. Each one shows the last year comparison and a directional arrow. The trend chart here, this is very significant. The trend chart shows net error as monthly bar. I color coded them so over forecasting appears in the gold and under forecasting here the color is a red. This makes the direction of the problem visible at the glance without even reading a single number. The 2 tables on the right, this one, the 2 tables on the right break down performance by customer and by the product segment. Each row has an EINOOS. Now, can you guess what is EINOOS? Excessive inventory and out of stock. So excessive inventory means they over forecasted and now hold too much stock at the moment. Out of the stock means they are under forecasted and risk losing sales. This is really mandatory in this day and age of having supply chain analysis. The executive view, which is going to be this one, the last one, this designed for CEO or any board member or C-level officer or any executive this needs to show visible under 10 seconds without clicking or drilling or filtering anything. The 4 KPI over here, you can see the top, the sparkling trend alongside the current value and benchmark comparison. So the CEO sees not just the number but also the direction as well. Is gross margin improving or declining over the time? The market share trend is the story, which is, let me just cut it down over here so you can see. Yeah, now it's visible. The market share trend is story of the company. AtliQ grew from 5.9% to 9.9% market share over 5 years, gaining ground against all 4 named competitors. This is the headline for any investor and board presentation. The revenue contribution to the switch between, which is gonna be here, this one, the revenue contribution. As you can see, it's toggle switches between division and channel view. So I built this visual, the bookmark technique. The channel views reveals that 71.1% of revenue flows through retails, which the board needs to see as concentration risk, because over 70% of revenue comes from the one channel. And what if, let's say, any unprecedented situation arrives, such as COVID or anything, then the revenue or the sale collapse suddenly. And the sub-regional scorecard at the bottom gives you the global view here over here. 7 regions with the net sales, gross margin, net profit, risk classification, and AtliQ market share, all in one table. Let's summarize what Business Insight 360 actually reveals about AtliQ. 1. Revenue and profitability are moving in opposite direction. The business is scaling fast, but costs are scaling faster. This is the #1 priority at the board level. Second, market share is growing strongly. The product is winning in the market. The problem is internal, not external. Third, the business is heavily concentrated in one region, which is Asia Pacific, especially the country India, that needs to strategically thinking at the board level to expand the market in another region. 4, the retail channel dominates at 71% of the total revenue. That creates margin pressure every time a retailer negotiate in their terms, or if something disrupts like the COVID or anything, then the entire operation or the most of the operation stops. 5, there is a clear premium channel opportunity. AtliQ exclusive customer generate 45.67% margin versus 34% average. So the gap is strategic insight. And the last, the supply chain is systematically under forecasting. So every out of stock event is a sale that did not happen. This is the most important thing. Every out of stock event is the sale that did not happen. And finally, the insight would be that this insight would take the weeks to surface without this dashboard. But with the Business Insight 360, they are visibly in seconds or few clicks. That's the Business Insight 360. From raw MySQL data to fully interactive Power BI platform, covering finance, sales, marketing, supply chain, and executive view. You can check out more information about Dask formula, SQL queries on my GitHub repository. I have given the link down below on my GitHub repository, the live dashboard, that also you can see for more insight. If you want to get more insight or curious about data, business, and AI, then I would love to connect. I'm available for conversation about analytics roles, especially in logistics, supply chain, and commercial analysis. Again, thanks for watching.